Hey everybody, Try Before We Die, the whiskey review show where we don't know what we're drinking, but we'll tell you what we're thinking. I'm just looking around to see if there's any new whiskeys in the bar handy. Nothing's popping out at me, but we still got a ton of whiskey in here that we haven't opened before. Hundreds of unopened bottles of single malt Scotch whiskey, and I'm here with the babysitter, Derek. How's it going, man?
I'm good.
Yeah, I haven't seen you on your show in a little bit, but
Yep.
You're super familiar with the entire process. You're a behind-the-scenes guy here, camera operator, and a whiskey enjoyer.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Well, we know the drill. We're going to reach over to Randy here and see what he's got in store for us. Is there anything you're after or anything you want to bring me up to speed on, Derek? I haven't seen you in a bit. Anything happening in your life?
I'm planning on going to Brazil soon.
Going to Brazil soon. Like I saw that movie. That was one of those Monty Python guys who made a movie about a bureaucratic error. So it didn't really seem like a good time. Is that, you mean the country?
Yes.
What do you got down there?
My stepsister's getting married.
My stepsister's getting married. That's cool. To a local Brazilian man or something like that? Or it's
Nope.
a destination wedding?
It's a destination wedding. They actually were married already, except they married during COVID, so there was no wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
So now they're having the ceremony.
All right, I'm going to check my mailbox. I must have missed my invitation to Brazil. Probably didn't get one.
No.
I don't think I know your stepsister.
No,
I
you
know
don't.
your sister.
Correct.
Or is this a maternal or a paternal stepsister?
Paternal stepsister.
Okay, so your father is married to somebody who brought a daughter to the party,
Correct.
and she's getting married.
Correct.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. You've met her before?
Yes.
All right, it's going to be a good time?
Oh, yeah.
Is a Brazilian wedding going to be like cha-cha-cha?
Probably.
All right. In the meantime, that's enough of that. Let's see what we're going to drink tonight on Try Before We Die. Hundreds of bottles. Anything you're interested in seeing tonight, Derek?
Like nice peated, smoky whiskey.
All right. So that'll be behind me and several other locations in the bar. But the Ardbegs are right behind me. All right, ready? Call it down. Tell me when.
Now.
389. I'm just going to go get it.
Okay.
379, 386, 387, 388, 389. Want to guess?
Is it an Ardbeg? Abelauer?
It is not an Abelauer.
Oh.
Many people, I could tell in the studio today, were thinking that. We're actually coming in, 86, 87, 389. We're coming in with a Jura.
Ah, okay.
I'm working on my pronunciation, everybody. I catch lots of advice on how I pronounce things. Always welcoming that. So I think this is Jura. So this is the Paps. So this is a single malt Scotch whiskey. Jura is an Islands region release. You probably know these things, Derek, already.
Yep.
I'm excited reading this label, everybody, together. So this is a 19-year-old Jura coming in at 45.6, ginger cake, vanilla, and roasted walnut. So this is PX40 cask is what that says. And what I think that means, everybody, is that this is a release that spent time in 40 PX, Pedro Jimenez casks, or it's Pedro Jimenez casks that held sherry for 40 years. So it's something along those lines. And again, always more evidence that we're just not preparing in advance. We're just having just an experience with friends here. And I read further on the label, everybody, and I have an answer. Matured in American white oak, ex-bourbon barrels, enhanced by casks, which held, now what do you think? These are 40 casks or casks with 40-year-old spirit?
40-year-old spirit.
Yes, with casks which held 40-year-old Pedro Jimenez sherry. So we should potentially have some very deep experiences here if these were casks that held sherry for 40 years. All right, anyway, so Jura, This, I believe, is a travel exclusive. I think it's part of a series, the Bay, the Sound, the Paps, the Road. I can't see because it's on the other side up there. I think there's 5 in this release series. We'll see what I know. The back tells us nothing because it's really small words. Actually, it tells us pretty much the same as the front. So, okay, anyway, enough of that. It should be breathing. I've been talking too long. As we know, comes up, we open it. And when the camera doesn't stop rolling, we get to have some of these experiences with me.
Try a knife.
I'm going to get the assistance of that. As you know, Derek, I am super attracted to this like hat and tail. I don't know what the deal is there. Okay. Fairly recent release, I'd say in the last 10 years, so I'm really hopeful we have a very clean cork pull. It's tight. I think we're going to be in good shape, everybody. See that little eruption?
Yeah, you got a spray came out with it.
Yeah.
Turn it sideways, you might get the bubble.
Oh. Oh, well, we got a... There's your pour, Derek.
Yeah.
All right. Will you cap those, please?
Yes.
Sometimes I've wondered if this bottle is intended to mimic at times Jura, which is a rectangle. Is a very short width, very long length. I think we're at like 3 by 30 in terms of miles. You know, I might be close on that guess. 45.6. All right, Derek. Recall any Juras you've had before. Juras. Recall any Juras you've had before.
I know I've had them. I cannot recall which ones.
Yes, so I feel confident we've had the 12. I feel confident we had a late 80s or a 90s release. You, myself, the other guys here, as well as the historic members of Pub Crawling, had a favorite experience before all of this happened in our lives, but in our early whiskey journey with the Jura 21-year-old. We demolished several bottles of that. Of course, we've got the 77 35-year-old. That was a New Year's Eve bottle here once. So you are correct. You have had it before. Do you recall any of those?
No. Most of the bottles just blend together.
So Derek is the vessel for blending whiskey. All right. I'm excited about this because it's been a long time since I've had an age statement Jura like a 19. It's been over a decade since I've had the 21-year-old. I've had every now and then I have a little taste of the 77, but that's a very unique experience in terms of a pretty widely available to the public higher age statement. This is going to be the first time I've had a Jura like that in many years, so I'm very excited. Anything you know about Jura?
Not the distillery itself, aside from it's the only one on the island.
True story.
I know, the island is like a one-road town. Mm-hmm. I think there's more deer than there are people.
There are more red deer than people by the thousands. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's take a look at this color. Oh. That's a deep amber. Mm. It's a deep amber. I mean, I'm struggling to think else what it is. I'm always thankful that I went with sort of that classic European dark brown spectrum of colors in this bar because it just matches so well against whiskeys that are influenced by sherry and whiskeys in general, but these darker whiskeys just do so well in the natural background here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Deep amber.
Yeah.
We feel it?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's see what 40-year-old whiskey casks do to an islands region single malt from Jura. Oh, honey right off the bat. Right off the bat. It's not the highest ABV whiskey, but there seems to be no alcohol translating on the nose.
No, not at all.
White oak, bourbon barrels, then time, resting in casks that held 40-year-old sherry. Wow. It is just so amazing, everybody, how 45.6 ABV, 45.6 ABV, 91.2% alcohol, and just not occurring at all on nosing deeply or lightly. The fact that it seems like you and I both experienced honey right off the bat. I was so stunned by that honey aroma that it was just like, honey. Didn't even want to linger any longer because of how pleasant that was, right?
That just made you want to just take a sip immediately.
Right, yeah. Well, thankfully Malcolm's not here because he probably would have just drank it and then been like, sorry, not sorry.
Yep.
Couldn't wait. And we'll see Malcolm soon, as we all know. Light,
Yep.
airy,
Yes.
right? Honey really seems to be this dominant experience. I picked up hardly any classic sherry notes, okay? But here's the thing. This is a Pedro Jimenez sherry. This is not an Oloroso sherry. So when we talk about Abelour's, a Booner series and all that, we're talking about Oloroso sherry. So we're moving into a different kind of sherry. My understanding is that there are about 7 different types of sherry, right? Moving from dark to cream, right, to a lighter sherry, to a dry sherry. So there are so many in that range. And I don't know more than that to talk about. Is the Pedro Jimenez the dry sherry, the rich sherry? My guess would be is that we're in a drier sherry here, not the richer sherry. But what do I know? No sherry expert. But I do like the aroma on this bottle of Jura. Trying hard to pronounce it that way, everybody. All right. Let's just move into seeing what it tastes like, Derek.
Okay.
All right? You're in?
Yep.
He's in. The Paps. I can't say enough how much I'm experiencing the white oak influence, right? It's really clean and crisp on the front side, which to me is that white oak influence. But then it moves into this very subtly sweet red, right? As if, what do we know, Derek? We know that an Islay whiskey, a peated whiskey, the longer it's in the barrel, the rounder the peat experience becomes, okay?
Yep.
The smoother, right? The fact that we're in this 19-year-old that has spent time in casks with 40-year-old sherry, we're in a very rounded sherry end. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Right. You don't have to agree, but it makes sense.
Yes.
All right. What do you got going on?
Yeah, I got a, about halfway through, probably a candied flavor. I think probably got a little bit sweeter than what you're talking. But yeah, similar experience. We've never been the best at picking out flavors, but that sweet candied flavor was definitely there. Not overpowering, but just noticeable.
All right. And are you picking up on that clean, crisp beginning? It's like a sharpness on the front side that hangs in your mouth, and then it moves back into this, for me, rounded sherry experience. For you, a little bit more of a richer sherry experience. But that's the juxtaposition that I got going on.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that.
Yeah. This is a nice whiskey. And what I like about it is that it's put together in such a way that it's not a sherry bomb, right? We've had many sherry bombs here. You know, many of the Abelour Booners. We've started moving into the Tamdu batch strengths, the Glenallachys, the Billy Walker whiskeys, right? So we know what that is, and there's nothing wrong with it. But this isn't the sherry bomb. This is a wonderful rotation of flavor from clear and crisp, and that's that bourbon barrel white oak, and then right into this well-aged and rounded sherry whiskey.
Yeah, the color of the bottle makes you think you're gonna get hit with that sherry.
Yeah.
Overpowering, but
Right.
it's nice. It's there, but it's easy to drink.
If I was introducing somebody to sherried whiskey, this would be on the journey to bringing them to an Aberlour or a Booner, right? And now we'll turn the sherry volume up, right? So this sherry volume isn't at 11, Nigel. This is like a 5 or a 6, okay?
Yep.
But before that, this oak bourbon experience itself is at an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. It's really neat, and it's not awkward in its transition.
I don't know.
Right?
It's a nice flow.
Right. It's really good, right? Folks will sometimes be a little these days, Jura, the core range especially. This is a modern release, and it's really good. No doubt, right?
No doubt.
Wow. All right. We're always curious if you've tried a whiskey that we're having on the show. Please hit us up with your thoughts. And just before the crew, where they're getting our quote ready, just again, thanks to everybody who's hung in there with us, whether it's your first season or your 6th season with us. We really appreciate it. Drop us a line anytime. We're pretty responsive within about 5 days. That's all me. But we'll get back to you. Please check us out some more. Share it with your friends. All right, Derek, I wish this for you.
I wish it to you too.
All right. May the best of your past be the worst of your future. Jura, the Paps. I believe it to be a travel exclusive, but that doesn't matter because if you find it in a store, you should get yourself a bottle of this 45.6 white oak bourbon moving into 40-year-old PX sherry casks. Wow. What a great whiskey, Derek.
I love this. We'll just keep drinking this when the cameras go away.
Okay, I'm in.
With a bearded man and a British guy.